Good morning. On September 11th, 2013, at about 11:30 p.m., the Richland Police Department responded to a call of a welfare check in the 1100 block of Los Palos Court. 3 young children, ages 2, 4, and 8, had gone to a neighbor's house. They were distraught and upset and reported to the neighbor that their mother had been killed. Responding officers from the Richland Police Department and the Benton County Sheriff's Office found Rebeca Vandeventer, a 32-year-of-age female, dead at the scene from apparent knife wounds. Investigators were called in from the Richland Police Department and Washington State Patrol Crime Lab to process the crime scene. A short time later, Lawrence Miller, who had a dating relationship with the victim, turned himself in at the front lobby of the Richland Police Department and was taken into custody and questioned by Richland police investigators. Based upon the information we received both from the crime scene and from the statements provided by Mr. Miller, he will be charged with second-degree murder.
On September 12th, the Benton County Coroner's Office was called to the scene on Los Palos Court, and we recovered the body of Rebeca Vandeventer, who was a 32-year-old resident there. She was transported to our office, and an autopsy was performed on Friday, September 13th. As a result of the autopsy, it was determined that the cause of death was blood loss due to multiple stab wounds, and the manner of death in this case is classed as a homicide. In detailing some of the stab wounds, she received approximately 30 injuries to her body, some in the front, some in the back, and some in other areas of her body.
And we've been working with the Coroner's Office and the Richland Police Department, and our office this morning filed, and it's been approved by a judge in Superior Court, charging the defendant with second-degree murder. We have also alleged 4 aggravating circumstances. If a jury finds those 4 aggravating circumstances, then the judge is allowed to give a sentence above the top of the sentencing range. Those 4 aggravating circumstances are deliberate cruelty to the victim, and that is supported by the injuries as described by Coroner John Hans just now. Also, a domestic violence aggravating circumstance, that the killing occurred within sight and sound of the victim's children. The evidence will be that it occurred both within the sight and the sound of her. Also, an aggravating circumstance that the crime not only had, of course, the impact on the victim who lost her life, but also had a foreseeable impact to others. We're talking about 3 minor children. And the 4th aggravating factor or circumstance that we have alleged is that the injuries were greater than the injuries that would be necessary to carry out the crime of second-degree murder. The defendant remains in custody. He will either appear in court on the formal charges this afternoon